Hi, my name is Chris Ryan and you've joined me here at the Belfry. We are at the Golf Academy, we're out in the short game area, and in this video we're talking about these shots where we need to get that ball from here into the air to land softly and hopefully roll out to the flag. We're talking about the wrist set and about how we use the wrists in this shot to give you the best results. Now, just before we do get into exactly what I want you to do, in the corner of the screen you should have the details for my social media accounts. So you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter and you've got Instagram, so please make sure you also go ahead and you follow me on those. So let's just talk quickly through the situation. I've probably got in the region of about 10 yards to the green. The lie is okay, but it's relatively longish grass. It's not fairway, it's not fringe grass, so it's kind of almost first cut if you like. I've then got about maybe 15, 20 yards of green to work with. So I've selected my 58-degree club here, and we're just going to talk about this shot, and we're talking really about the wrists, and we're going to go through something that I see quite commonly with golfers which can give them issues down by impact. So if you've watched any other videos on the short game, you'll probably have recognised there's quite a hot topic at the moment, which is talking about the bounce, which is the soul of the golf club, and we're talking about making sure that we use the bounce because that's going to give you the biggest margin for error. And I would absolutely agree with that. If we can get golfers to use the golf club correctly and understand how it works and interacts with the ground, we're hopefully going to get better results and more consistent results. So what do I tend to see golfers do wrong in this situation? Well, very often what I'll see is they'll take or adopt a pretty good setup, but as they move the club away, they don't tend to use much wrist action or much forearm rotation. So it becomes a little bit more sort of this, where the hands are a little bit more passive and the golf club moves away because of the upper body. Now, this would be fine if we were looking to pitch that ball from a fairly tight lie, quite short grass, and land that ball maybe 5 or 6 paces in front of me. If we've got to get that ball a little bit further, a little bit higher, and through this longer grass, we could do with a little bit more speed in the golf club. What those golfers will often do is they will often create some angles in the wrists during the transition period of their golf swing. So they'll move the club away without much wrists, and as they start down, the club will lag behind and they'll create some angle in here. Now, effectively, what they've done is they've created kind of lag, if you like, which is potentially what we want to do in the full swing. What it does for this shot is it means that it's very, very difficult to return the golf club back to neutral and therefore use the bounce. Those golfers often find that when they do that, they return with the handle excessively forwards. Now, when we return with the handle excessively forwards, we start to utilise the leading edge as opposed to the bounce. When that happens, it's not uncommon for those golfers to hit shots such as this, where I've hit the ground very, very early. You can see that the club stopped, it didn't continue through, and that obviously ball hasn't gone anywhere. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is maybe it kind of makes it onto the green, but certainly not as close to the hole as we would like. The other thing that we would tend to see would be this shot, where I've hit that ball and literally just topped it right the way through the green and it's gone right off the other side. Now, the reason that happens is because if we start in this sort of neutral, normal position, if you like, as soon as we create an angle in the golf club and the forearm here, we basically shorten the distance between my sternum and the club head. So that ball will now not reach the bottom of the ball, it won't reach the turf, unless I have some drop in the knees. The back shoulder tends to get lower in order to make up that difference. So if we start off in this nice neutral position, but as we transition from backswing to downswing, we allow those wrists to hinge, we we increase the likelihood of thinning the ball, unless we make some kind of downward move with our legs or our upper body. And if we make that kind of downward move, we run the risk of stuffing the club into the ground and the ball only goes about 10 or 15 yards. So what do we want to do? Well, I would like you to feel on these shots that the first thing you do is adopt a nice normal setup, but feel as if as you move the club away, there's a little bit of wrist hinge. Now, I wouldn't want this to be excessive. I would want there to be some chest movement and therefore some lead arm movement. So I wouldn't want it just to be wrists, but let's feel that we create a little bit of angle in the wrists in the backswing. That then gives me something that I can basically throw under the golf ball, if you like, and return the golf club to that more neutral position, which is what we need to utilise the bounce. So just because we start in a position where the club is neutral and the bounce is resting on the ground, that doesn't always mean we're going to return there. We can definitely change that through the golf swing by what we do, and often that's what golfers do incorrectly. So let's make sure when we're playing these short pitch shots, there's a little bit of set early on. we feel it, we return the golf club to neutral, and there's a little bit more release on the way through. So you can see here that my wrists have rehinged a little bit, if you like, or I've allowed that club to pass my hands a little bit more through impact, and that's really what's going to help you use that bounce. So it will hopefully look a little bit more like this. Nice neutral setup, use the wrists on the way back and let them go on the way through. Now that ball flight was much higher, much softer. That's allowed me to control the trajectory, allowed me to control the distance, and certainly the interaction with the ground that I got was much more desirable, and that's going to allow me to play these shots much more consistently each time I'm faced with this situation. So let's make sure that we do have a little bit of wrist action in these golf swings, but let's make sure we understand when that needs to happen, understand maybe what's going to happen when you do it incorrectly, because those are the signs that you need to look for on the golf course that maybe you're doing this incorrectly. If you're thinning them across the green, or if you're catching the ground early and the club's digging into the ground, these are all good signs that your wrist set is happening in transition, you've got too much lag, you haven't got time to get rid of that, and therefore you're hitting those shots. I'll just hit one more for you so you can see again. So nice neutral setup, a little bit of hinge early on, and let that club return back to neutral as we go through. And again, interaction with the ground was much better. The ball flight was a little bit higher, a little bit softer, and that certainly gave me the confidence to play that shot, making contact with the ground, with the bounce of the club, and that is how we want to play these shots. So hopefully that helps, hopefully that gives you some information that you can take to the course, because certainly from this situation, if we can get up and down more often, we can certainly shave a lot of shots off your score, and that's hopefully going to help you enjoy the game more. So thank you very much for watching. Any comments you have, please let me know in the box down below. There's also a like button down there, so please use that if you wish. And if you haven't done already, then please subscribe to my channel. There is loads more content on there at the moment, and loads more being uploaded weekly. So please make sure you click the link in the description box and go ahead and subscribe. Right, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again next time.